Some people think. A school of thought holds that. Some people think traffic is a problem, and the solution is to build more roads. A school of thought holds that urban traffic congestion is a pressing issue, which can be effectively addressed through the expansion of sustainable public transport networks rather than the simplistic construction of additional roadways. Some people, whereas others. Proponents, whereas opponents. Some people think online learning is useful, whereas others think it is harmful. Proponents argue that online learning is beneficial for accessibility, whereas opponents contend that it undermines traditional classroom interaction, necessitating a balanced integration of both approaches. I think. As far as I am concerned, I think pollution is a big problem, and planting trees is the solution. As far as I am concerned, environmental pollution constitutes a critical global challenge, which can be mitigated through comprehensive afforestation initiatives and stricter environmental regulations. I believe. I am firmly of the view that. I believe unemployment is a problem, and governments should create more jobs. I am firmly of the view that rising unemployment is a socio-economic dilemma, which governments must resolve by fostering entrepreneurship and investing in vocational training programs. Agree. Concur. I agree that technology helps education, and schools should use more computers. I concur that technological integration enhances educational outcomes, and institutions should adopt digital platforms to facilitate interactive learning. Disagree. Dissent. I disagree that banning cars will solve pollution problems. I respectfully dissent from the notion that prohibiting private vehicles alone will resolve environmental degradation, as comprehensive policies addressing industrial emissions and renewable energy adoption are equally essential. Advanced/innovative. Cutting edge. Advanced technology can solve healthcare problems. Cutting-edge medical technologies can effectively address healthcare challenges, particularly through early disease detection and precision treatment methods. Good. Beneficial. Exercise is good for health, and people should do it daily. Regular physical activity is highly beneficial for public health, as it reduces chronic disease risks and enhances overall well-being. Bad. Adverse. Air pollution is a bad problem, and the solution is to reduce car use. Air pollution poses an adverse challenge to urban health, which can be mitigated through stringent vehicle emission controls and the promotion of eco-friendly transportation alternatives. A lot of. A significant number of. A lot of students drop out of school, and the solution is to provide scholarships. A significant number of students discontinue their education, a problem that can be addressed by implementing comprehensive scholarship schemes and financial aid programs to ensure equitable access to learning opportunities. Most. The vast majority of. Most people throw away plastic, and the solution is to recycle more. The vast majority of individuals dispose of plastic irresponsibly, a pressing issue that necessitates nationwide recycling initiatives and public awareness campaigns to foster sustainable waste management practices. Few. A minority of. Few citizens follow traffic rules, and the solution is to increase fines. A minority of citizens disregard traffic regulations, a persistent problem that can be alleviated through stricter enforcement measures and substantial penalties designed to deter violations. Without a doubt. By far/undeniably. Without a doubt, unemployment is a problem, and the solution is to create more jobs. Unemployment is undeniably one of the most pressing socio-economic challenges, which can be resolved by fostering entrepreneurship, expanding vocational training, and stimulating job creation through targeted government policies. A great deal of. A plethora of. A great deal of plastic waste is produced, and the solution is to recycle more. A plethora of plastic waste is generated globally, a challenge that can be mitigated through comprehensive recycling initiatives and the promotion of biodegradable alternatives. Very important. Of paramount importance. Education is very important, and governments should invest more money in schools. Education is of paramount importance to national development, necessitating substantial governmental investment in modernized curricula, infrastructure, and teacher training programs. Essential. Indispensable. Water is essential for life, and the solution is to save it by reducing usage. Water is indispensable for human survival, and conservation can be achieved through efficient irrigation systems, public awareness campaigns, and stricter regulations on industrial consumption. Intensify. Exacerbate. Traffic jams intensify pollution, and the solution is to use fewer cars. Traffic congestion exacerbates environmental pollution, a pressing issue that can be alleviated through the expansion of public transportation networks and the adoption of eco-friendly commuting practices. Reduce. Mitigate. Governments should reduce unemployment by creating more jobs. Governments must implement targeted policies to mitigate unemployment, such as fostering entrepreneurship, expanding vocational training, and incentivizing industries to generate sustainable employment opportunities. Problems. Drawbacks. There are many problems with online learning, and the solution is to improve internet access. Despite its benefits, online learning presents notable drawbacks, which can be alleviated through the expansion of reliable internet infrastructure and equitable access to digital resources. Issue. Concern. Pollution is a big issue, and the solution is to plant more trees. Environmental contamination has become a pressing concern, necessitating comprehensive afforestation initiatives and stricter regulatory frameworks to safeguard ecological balance. Decreasing. Dwindling. The number of forests is decreasing, and the solution is to stop deforestation. The world's forest cover is dwindling at an alarming rate, a challenge that can be addressed through stringent anti-deforestation policies and the promotion of sustainable land management practices. Increasing. Escalating. Crime is increasing in cities, and the solution is to hire more police. Urban crime rates are escalating, a phenomenon that requires multifaceted solutions such as community policing, social welfare programs, and enhanced law enforcement strategies. Common. Ubiquitous. Mobile phones are common, and the solution is to teach children how to use them properly. Mobile phones have become ubiquitous in modern society, necessitating structured educational programs to guide young users toward responsible and productive usage. Cause. Lead to. Unemployment causes poverty, and the solution is to create more jobs. High unemployment rates often give rise to widespread poverty, a socio-economic dilemma that governments can mitigate by fostering entrepreneurship and expanding vocational training opportunities. Result. Outcome. The result of poor diet is obesity, and the solution is to eat healthier food. The outcome of consistently poor dietary habits is widespread obesity, which can be countered through public health campaigns promoting balanced nutrition and accessible healthy food options. Effect. Ramification. The effect of climate change is rising sea levels, and the solution is to build stronger dams. One significant ramification of climate change is the rise in sea levels, a challenge that necessitates resilient coastal infrastructure and proactive environmental policies. Destruction. Extinction. Pollution causes the destruction of animals, and the solution is to protect wildlife. Rampant pollution has accelerated the extinction of numerous species, a crisis that can be mitigated through stringent conservation measures and international collaboration on biodiversity protection. Open. Susceptible. Children are open to online risks, and the solution is to monitor their internet use. Young learners are highly susceptible to online vulnerabilities, which can be mitigated through parental supervision and the implementation of robust digital safety protocols. Main. Predominant. The main problem in cities is traffic, and the solution is to build more roads. The predominant urban challenge is traffic congestion, which can be alleviated through investment in sustainable public transport systems rather than indiscriminate road expansion. Remove. Eradicate/eliminate. We should remove poverty by creating more jobs. Governments must strive to eradicate poverty by fostering entrepreneurship, expanding vocational training, and implementing inclusive economic policies. For example. For instance/to illustrate. For example, pollution causes health problems, and the solution is to reduce car use. To illustrate, environmental pollution often leads to respiratory illnesses, a concern that can be addressed through stricter vehicle emission regulations and the promotion of eco-friendly commuting alternatives. Plants and animals. Flora and fauna. Pollution harms plants and animals, and the solution is to protect them. Industrial contamination poses severe threats to local flora and fauna, necessitating comprehensive conservation initiatives and stricter environmental legislation to safeguard biodiversity. It is thought that. It is widely believed that. It is thought that education solves poverty, and the solution is to provide free schools. It is widely believed that education is the most effective tool against poverty, a belief that underscores the need for free, accessible schooling and equitable learning opportunities. Research says. Studies have shown that. Research says exercise reduces stress, and the solution is to encourage more sports. Studies have shown that regular physical activity alleviates stress, a finding that highlights the importance of promoting community sports programs and accessible recreational facilities. Explain. Elucidate. Teachers explain lessons to students, and the solution is to make classes clearer. Educators must elucidate complex concepts effectively, a challenge that can be addressed through interactive teaching methods and the integration of digital learning tools. To explain it. To be more precise. To explain it, pollution is bad, and the solution is to recycle more. To be more precise, unchecked pollution has detrimental effects on ecosystems, a crisis that necessitates nationwide recycling initiatives and public awareness campaigns. Solution. Panacea. Education is a solution to unemployment. While education is often viewed as a panacea for unemployment, it must be complemented by vocational training and targeted job creation policies to achieve sustainable results. Harmful. Detrimental. Smoking is harmful to health, and the solution is to ban it in public places. Smoking has detrimental effects on public health, a concern that can be mitigated through comprehensive bans in public spaces and widespread awareness campaigns highlighting its risks. Helpful. Conducive. Exercise is helpful for health, and the solution is to encourage people to do it daily. Regular physical activity is highly conducive to public health, a challenge that can be addressed through nationwide fitness campaigns and the provision of accessible recreational facilities. Grow. Proliferate. Fake news grows quickly online, and the solution is to check facts before sharing. Misinformation tends to proliferate rapidly across digital platforms, a concern that necessitates robust fact-checking mechanisms and public awareness initiatives to safeguard information integrity. Threaten. Jeopardize. Pollution threatens wildlife, and the solution is to protect forests. Environmental degradation continues to jeopardize global biodiversity, a crisis that can be mitigated through stringent forest conservation policies and international collaboration on ecological preservation. Control. Regulate. Governments should control the use of plastic bags. Governments must regulate the excessive use of plastic bags by implementing strict bans and incentivizing eco-friendly alternatives. Improve. Enhance. Schools should improve teaching by using technology. Educational institutions should enhance pedagogical practices through the integration of advanced digital tools that foster interactive and student-centered learning. Change. Transform. Technology changes communication, and the solution is to adapt to it. Technology has transformed modes of communication, necessitating adaptive strategies such as digital literacy programs to ensure societal inclusivity. Difference. Disparity. There is a difference between rich and poor, and the solution is to provide equal opportunities. There exists a stark disparity between affluent and underprivileged groups, a socio-economic challenge that can be alleviated through equitable access to education, healthcare, and employment opportunities. Responsibility. Accountability. The government has a responsibility to reduce pollution. Governments bear accountability for addressing environmental degradation, which can be mitigated through stringent emission regulations and sustainable energy policies. Opportunity. Prospect. Education gives young people the opportunity to get better jobs. Quality education provides young individuals with the prospect of securing gainful employment, a solution that necessitates equitable access to academic resources and vocational training. Future. Long-term outlook. In the future, unemployment may increase, and the solution is to create more jobs. From a long-term outlook, unemployment is likely to escalate, a challenge that can be alleviated through proactive job creation strategies and investment in entrepreneurial initiatives. To conclude. To recapitulate. To conclude, pollution is a big problem, and the solution is to recycle more. To recapitulate, environmental pollution remains a critical global concern, which can be addressed through comprehensive recycling programs and widespread public awareness campaigns. Overall. On the whole. Overall, technology helps education, and the solution is to use it more in schools. On the whole, technological integration enhances educational outcomes, a problem that can be resolved by embedding digital platforms into classroom instruction to foster interactive learning. Poor. Underprivileged. Poor people cannot afford healthcare, and the solution is to provide free hospitals. Underprivileged communities often lack access to healthcare, a socio-economic dilemma that can be mitigated through the establishment of free medical facilities and subsidized treatment programs. Easy. Straightforward. It is easy to reduce stress by exercising daily. Reducing stress through daily physical activity is a straightforward remedy, which can be further enhanced by promoting community fitness initiatives and accessible recreational infrastructure. Necessary. Imperative. It is necessary to reduce pollution, and the solution is to plant more trees. It is imperative to address environmental pollution, which can be mitigated through large-scale afforestation programs and stringent emission regulations. Useful. Advantageous. Online classes are useful, and the solution is to provide more internet access. Online education is highly advantageous, a challenge that can be resolved by expanding broadband infrastructure and ensuring equitable digital access for all learners. Useless. Redundant. Old machines are useless, and the solution is to replace them with new ones. Outdated machinery has become redundant, a problem that can be alleviated through the adoption of modern, energy-efficient technologies that enhance productivity. Good effect. Positive outcome. Exercise has a good effect on health, and the solution is to encourage people to do it daily. Regular physical activity yields a positive outcome for public health, which can be facilitated through nationwide fitness initiatives and accessible recreational facilities. Bad effect. Negative repercussion. Smoking has a bad effect on health, and the solution is to ban it in public places. Smoking produces severe negative repercussions for public health, a concern that can be mitigated through comprehensive bans in public spaces and widespread awareness campaigns. Help. Facilitate. Technology can help students learn better, and the solution is to use more computers in schools. Technology can facilitate improved learning outcomes, a challenge that can be addressed by integrating digital platforms into classroom instruction to foster interactive and student-centered education. Curb. Restrict. We should curb pollution by reducing car use. Governments must restrict vehicular emissions, a pressing concern that can be mitigated through stringent regulations and the promotion of eco-friendly transportation alternatives. Enable. Bolster. Technology enables students to learn better, and the solution is to provide more computers. Digital innovation can bolster student learning outcomes, a challenge that can be addressed by integrating advanced educational platforms and ensuring equitable access to technological resources. Encourage. Foster. Teachers should encourage creativity in classrooms. Educators should foster creativity within classrooms, a solution that involves adopting interactive pedagogical methods and cultivating a student-centered learning environment. Stop something bad. Deter. Strict laws can stop crime. Stringent legislation can deter criminal activities, a problem that requires comprehensive enforcement strategies and community-based preventive measures. Solve. Resolve. We must solve the problem of unemployment by creating jobs. Governments must resolve the unemployment crisis by implementing targeted job creation policies, fostering entrepreneurship, and expanding vocational training opportunities. Deal with. Address. We need to deal with climate change by planting trees. Societies must address the escalating challenge of climate change through afforestation programs, renewable energy adoption, and international cooperation. Handle. Manage. Hospitals should handle emergencies quickly. Healthcare institutions must manage emergencies efficiently, a challenge that can be alleviated through advanced medical infrastructure and well-trained personnel. Develop. Cultivate. Children should develop good habits, and the solution is to guide them properly. Children should cultivate constructive habits, a problem that can be resolved through parental guidance, structured education, and positive reinforcement strategies. Replace. Substitute. We should replace plastic bags with paper bags. Plastic bags should be substituted with biodegradable alternatives, a solution that promotes sustainable consumption and reduces environmental degradation. Use. Utilize. Students should use technology to study. Learners should utilize digital technologies to enhance academic performance, a solution that involves integrating e-learning platforms into mainstream education. Make better. Enhance. Governments should make healthcare better by building more hospitals. Governments must enhance healthcare systems by expanding medical infrastructure, investing in advanced treatment facilities, and ensuring equitable access to essential services. Aggravate. Impair. Pollution aggravates human health, and the solution is to reduce car use. Air pollution significantly impairs public health, a crisis that can be mitigated through stringent vehicle emission regulations and the promotion of eco-friendly transportation alternatives. Devastate. Safeguard. Floods devastate villages, and the solution is to build stronger dams. Frequent flooding devastates rural communities, a challenge that necessitates safeguarding vulnerable regions through resilient infrastructure and comprehensive disaster management policies. Improve life. Elevate living standards. Education improves life, and the solution is to provide free schools. Accessible education elevates living standards, a solution that requires governments to establish free schooling systems and invest in equitable academic opportunities. Quality of life. Standard of living. Healthcare improves the quality of life, and the solution is to build more hospitals. Healthcare services enhance the overall standard of living, a problem that can be addressed through expanded medical infrastructure and subsidized treatment programs. Lifestyle. Way of life. Technology changes our lifestyle, and the solution is to adapt to it. Technological innovation has transformed the modern way of life, necessitating adaptive strategies such as digital literacy programs to ensure inclusivity. Work together. Collaborate. Countries should work together to fight climate change. Nations must collaborate to combat climate change, a global challenge that requires coordinated international policies and shared technological advancements. Competition. Rivalry. Competition between companies increases prices, and the solution is to regulate markets. Corporate rivalry often escalates consumer costs, a concern that can be mitigated through effective market regulation and the enforcement of fair trade practices. Failure. Setback. Failure in exams is common, and the solution is to study harder. Academic setbacks are frequent among students, a challenge that can be alleviated through structured study programs and enhanced pedagogical support. Chance. Prospect. Education gives young people a chance to succeed. Quality education provides young individuals with the prospect of success, a solution that requires equitable access to academic resources and vocational training. Because of. Owing to. Many people lose jobs because of automation. A significant number of workers face unemployment owing to automation, a socio-economic dilemma that can be resolved through retraining initiatives and investment in emerging industries. Due to. Attributable to. Obesity is increasing due to poor diet. The rise in obesity rates is largely attributable to unhealthy dietary habits, a concern that can be addressed through public health campaigns promoting balanced nutrition and accessible healthy food options. Albeit. The plan is good, albeit expensive. The proposed initiative is promising, albeit financially demanding, a challenge that necessitates careful budget allocation and long-term investment strategies to ensure sustainability. Consequently. Hence. Pollution increases, consequently people get sick, and the solution is to reduce car use. Air pollution has escalated, hence, public health has deteriorated, a predicament that can be resolved through stringent emission controls and the promotion of sustainable transport alternatives. On a global scale. On a global scale. On a global scale, climate change is a problem, and the solution is to plant more trees. On a global scale, climate change represents a formidable threat, which can be mitigated through international collaboration on afforestation programs and renewable energy adoption. Children. The younger generation. Children face stress in schools, and the solution is to reduce homework. The younger generation increasingly experiences academic stress, a hazard that can be alleviated by reforming curricula and fostering balanced educational practices. Governments. Authorities. Governments should make laws to stop crime. Authorities must enact comprehensive legislation to deter criminal activities, a solution that requires both strict enforcement and community-based preventive measures. Companies. Corporations. Companies pollute rivers, and the solution is to fine them. Corporations frequently jeopardize ecosystems through industrial waste, a predicament that can be addressed by imposing substantial fines and enforcing stringent environmental regulations. Laws. Legislation. Laws should protect workers, and the solution is to make stricter rules. Legislation must safeguard workers' rights, a concern that can be resolved through rigorous regulatory frameworks and consistent enforcement mechanisms. Rules. Regulations. Rules should control food safety, and the solution is to check factories more often. Regulations governing food safety must be strengthened, a hazard that can be mitigated through frequent inspections and stricter compliance standards in manufacturing facilities. Opinion. Viewpoint. My opinion is that education solves poverty. My viewpoint is that education constitutes the most effective panacea for poverty, a notion that underscores the need for equitable access to academic resources. Idea. Notion. The idea is that technology helps students learn. The notion that technological integration enhances learning outcomes highlights the importance of embedding digital platforms into classroom instruction. Problem. Predicament. Unemployment is a problem, and the solution is to create more jobs. Rising unemployment is a socio-economic predicament, which can be resolved through targeted job creation policies and investment in vocational training programs. Risk. Hazard. Smoking is a risk to health, and the solution is to ban it in public places. Smoking poses a severe health hazard, a threat that can be mitigated through comprehensive bans in public spaces and widespread awareness campaigns. Danger. Threat. Climate change is a danger to the planet, and the solution is to use renewable energy. Climate change constitutes a global threat, a predicament that necessitates urgent adoption of renewable energy sources and coordinated international environmental policies. Responsibility. Obligation. It is the responsibility of governments to reduce pollution. It is the obligation of authorities to combat environmental degradation, which can be achieved through stringent emission regulations and investment in renewable energy sources. Advantages. Merits. The advantages of online learning are flexibility and low cost. The merits of online education include enhanced flexibility and reduced financial burden, a solution that fosters equitable access to academic opportunities. Disadvantages. Demerits. The disadvantages of social media are addiction and distraction. The demerits of social media encompass psychological dependency and academic distraction, a predicament that can be addressed through digital literacy programs and parental supervision. Benefits. Positive outcomes. Exercise has many benefits, and the solution is to encourage people to do it daily. Regular physical activity yields significant positive outcomes for public health, which can be facilitated through nationwide fitness campaigns and accessible recreational infrastructure. Bad effects. Adverse effects. Smoking has bad effects on health, and the solution is to ban it in public places. Smoking produces severe adverse effects on public health, a hazard that can be mitigated through comprehensive bans in public spaces and widespread awareness campaigns. Good effects. Favorable outcomes. Technology has good effects on education, and the solution is to use more computers in schools. Technological integration generates favorable outcomes in education, a challenge that can be resolved by embedding digital platforms into classroom instruction to foster interactive and student-centered learning. Results. Repercussions/ramifications. The results of pollution are health problems, and the solution is to reduce car use. The repercussions of unchecked pollution include widespread health complications, a predicament that can be mitigated through stringent vehicle emission controls and the promotion of sustainable transport alternatives. Outcomes. Consequences. The outcomes of poor diet are obesity and disease, and the solution is to eat healthier food. The consequences of consistently poor dietary habits manifest as obesity and chronic illnesses, a crisis that necessitates public health campaigns promoting balanced nutrition and accessible healthy food options. Reasons. Rationale. The reasons for unemployment are lack of skills, and the solution is to provide training. The primary rationale behind rising unemployment is inadequate skill development, a challenge that can be resolved through comprehensive vocational training programs and government-sponsored upskilling initiatives. Show. Demonstrate. Statistics show that crime is increasing, and the solution is to hire more police. Recent statistics demonstrate an escalation in urban crime rates, a predicament that can be addressed through community policing strategies and enhanced law enforcement measures. Prove. Substantiate. Research proves that exercise reduces stress, and the solution is to encourage sports. Empirical studies substantiate the claim that regular physical activity alleviates stress, a finding that underscores the need for promoting community sports initiatives and accessible recreational facilities. Support. Reinforce. Teachers support students by giving extra classes. Educators reinforce student learning outcomes by offering supplementary classes, a solution that can be further enhanced through interactive teaching methodologies and digital learning platforms. Improve. Ameliorate. Governments should improve healthcare by building more hospitals. Governments must ameliorate healthcare systems by expanding medical infrastructure, investing in advanced treatment facilities, and ensuring equitable access to essential services. Increase. Escalate. Pollution will increase if people use more cars. Pollution levels will inevitably escalate with rising automobile usage, a hazard that can be mitigated through the adoption of eco-friendly commuting practices and stricter emission regulations. Decrease. Diminish. We must decrease pollution by reducing car use. Authorities must implement policies to diminish environmental pollution, a predicament that can be mitigated through stringent emission controls and the promotion of sustainable transport alternatives. Continue. Persist. If unemployment continues, poverty will rise, and the solution is to create more jobs. If unemployment persists, widespread poverty will escalate, a socio-economic dilemma that can be resolved through targeted job creation initiatives and vocational training programs. Stop. Cease. Factories should stop producing harmful chemicals. Industrial facilities must cease the production of hazardous chemicals, a concern that can be addressed through strict environmental legislation and sustainable manufacturing practices. Start. Commence. Governments should start new projects to improve infrastructure. Governments should commence large-scale infrastructural projects, a necessity for fostering economic growth and enhancing public welfare. Need. Necessity. There is a need to protect forests, and the solution is to ban deforestation. The protection of forests has become a necessity, a global challenge that can be resolved through comprehensive anti-deforestation policies and the cultivation of sustainable land management practices. Duty. Accountability. It is the duty of governments to reduce pollution. Authorities have accountability in combating environmental degradation, which can be resolved through stringent emission regulations and investment in renewable energy sources. Fair. Equitable. Education should be fair for all students. Education must be equitable, a necessity that can be achieved through inclusive policies ensuring equal access to academic resources regardless of socioeconomic background. Unfair. Unjust. It is unfair that poor people cannot afford health care. It is unjust that impoverished communities lack access to healthcare, a predicament that can be alleviated through subsidized medical services and government-funded hospitals. Balanced. Well-rounded. Children should have a balanced education with sports and studies. Children should receive a well-rounded education that integrates academic learning with extracurricular activities, fostering holistic development and long-term success. Unbalanced. Disproportionate. There is an unbalanced distribution of wealth in society. The disproportionate distribution of wealth in modern societies has exacerbated inequality, a socio-economic dilemma that can be addressed through progressive taxation and equitable resource allocation. Rich. Affluent. Rich people can afford better education. Affluent individuals often have privileged access to superior educational opportunities, a disparity that can be mitigated through scholarships and inclusive academic programs. Poor. Impoverished. Poor families struggle to pay for food. Impoverished households frequently struggle to secure basic necessities, a crisis that necessitates targeted welfare programs and sustainable economic reforms. Developing countries. Emerging economies. Developing countries face problems with poverty, and the solution is to create more jobs. Emerging economies grapple with persistent poverty, a predicament that can be resolved through industrial diversification, foreign investment, and comprehensive employment generation policies. Jobs. Employment opportunities. Governments should create more jobs to reduce poverty. Authorities must generate sustainable employment opportunities to alleviate poverty, a socio-economic predicament that can be resolved through industrial diversification and investment in vocational training programs. Work. Occupation. Many people cannot find work, and the solution is to provide training. A significant number of individuals struggle to secure stable occupations, a challenge that can be addressed through comprehensive skill development initiatives and government-sponsored training schemes. Money. Financial resources. Poor families need money, and the solution is to provide financial aid. Impoverished households lack adequate financial resources, a crisis that can be mitigated through targeted welfare programs, microfinance initiatives, and subsidized social support systems. Education. Academic pursuit. Education solves unemployment, and the solution is to build more schools. Academic pursuit remains the most effective panacea for unemployment, a concern that necessitates the establishment of accessible schools and the expansion of inclusive learning opportunities. Knowledge. Expertise. Students need knowledge to succeed, and the solution is to study harder. Learners must acquire expertise to achieve success, a challenge that can be resolved through structured curricula, interactive pedagogical methods, and continuous assessment strategies. Information. Data. Governments need information about pollution, and the solution is to conduct surveys. Authorities require accurate data on environmental pollution, a necessity that can be fulfilled through systematic surveys, advanced monitoring technologies, and transparent reporting mechanisms. Technology. Innovation. Technology helps students learn, and the solution is to use more computers in schools. Educational innovation enhances student learning outcomes, a challenge that can be addressed by integrating digital platforms into classroom instruction to foster interactive and student-centered education. Change. Transformation. Technology causes change in communication, and the solution is to adapt to it. Technological advancement has triggered a profound transformation in communication, necessitating adaptive strategies such as digital literacy programs to ensure inclusivity. Big change. Paradigm shift. The Internet brought a big change in education. The advent of the Internet has initiated a paradigm shift in education, fundamentally altering pedagogical approaches and expanding access to knowledge on a global scale. Small change. Minor adjustment. A small change in diet can improve health. Even a minor adjustment in dietary habits can ameliorate public health outcomes, a solution that can be facilitated through awareness campaigns promoting balanced nutrition. Important point. Key consideration. An important point is that pollution harms health. A key consideration is that environmental pollution severely impairs public health, a predicament that necessitates stringent emission controls and sustainable urban planning. Strong argument. Compelling argument. A strong argument for recycling is that it saves resources. A compelling argument in favor of recycling is its capacity to conserve finite resources, a solution that underscores the necessity of nationwide waste management initiatives. Weak argument. Flimsy argument. A weak argument against online learning is that it is boring. A flimsy argument opposing online education is its alleged monotony, a claim that fails to acknowledge the interactive potential of modern digital learning platforms. False. Fallacious. It is false to think that banning cars alone will solve pollution. The fallacious assumption that prohibiting private vehicles alone can resolve environmental degradation overlooks the necessity of comprehensive industrial reforms and renewable energy adoption. Unclear. Ambiguous. The rules are unclear, and the solution is to make them simpler. The regulations are ambiguous, a predicament that can be addressed through precise legislative drafting and transparent enforcement mechanisms. Connected. Interlinked. Education and employment are connected, and the solution is to provide more training. Education and employment are deeply interlinked, a socio-economic reality that necessitates investment in vocational training and skill development programs. Separate. Disparate. There are separate problems in rural and urban areas. Rural and urban regions face disparate challenges, which can be resolved through tailored policy interventions addressing their unique socio-economic contexts. Worldwide. Global. Pollution is a worldwide problem, and the solution is to cooperate internationally. Environmental pollution has become a global predicament, requiring coordinated international collaboration and the implementation of sustainable development strategies. Local. Regional. Local problems like traffic need better planning. Regional issues such as traffic congestion necessitate comprehensive urban planning and investment in sustainable transport infrastructure. Fast. Rapid. Technology grows fast, and the solution is to adapt to it. Technological innovation is advancing at a rapid pace, a transformation that demands adaptive strategies such as digital literacy programs and continuous professional development. Slow. Sluggish. Economic growth is slow, and the solution is to invest more. Economic growth remains sluggish, a concern that can be alleviated through increased foreign investment, industrial diversification, and supportive fiscal policies. Enough. Sufficient. There are not enough hospitals, and the solution is to build more. Healthcare infrastructure is insufficient, a crisis that can be resolved through the construction of additional medical facilities and the equitable distribution of healthcare resources. Not enough. Inadequate. There are not enough hospitals, and the solution is to build more. Healthcare infrastructure is inadequate, a predicament that can be resolved through the construction of additional medical facilities and equitable distribution of healthcare resources. Possible. Feasible. It is possible to reduce pollution by planting trees. It is feasible to mitigate environmental pollution through large-scale afforestation programs and the implementation of sustainable urban planning strategies. Necessary. Indispensable. Education is necessary for success, and the solution is to provide free schools. Education is indispensable for socio-economic advancement, a necessity that can be addressed through free schooling initiatives and inclusive academic policies. Common problem. Recurrent issue. Traffic jams are a common problem, and the solution is to build more roads. Traffic congestion is a recurrent issue in metropolitan areas, a challenge that can be alleviated through investment in sustainable public transport systems and intelligent traffic management technologies. Modern. Contemporary. One problem in modern cities is traffic congestion, and the solution is to build more roads. A pressing issue in contemporary metropolitan areas is escalating traffic congestion, which can be mitigated through the strategic development of efficient public transport systems rather than merely expanding road infrastructure. Present. Contemporary. In the present world, pollution is a big problem, and governments should plant more trees. In the present-day global context, environmental contamination has become a critical challenge, necessitating comprehensive governmental initiatives such as large-scale afforestation programs and stricter emission regulations. Old. Outdated/obsolete. Many schools use old teaching methods, and the solution is to introduce technology in classrooms. Numerous educational institutions still rely on outdated pedagogical approaches, which can be effectively addressed by integrating innovative digital learning platforms that foster interactive and student-centered instruction. New. Novel. A new problem is cybercrime, and the solution is to make stronger laws. A novel societal challenge is the rapid rise of cybercrime, which demands the formulation of robust legislative frameworks coupled with international cooperation to safeguard digital security.